Welcome back to another Bitter Shadow podcast. So, this creepy podcast is going to be about creepy encounters with serial killers. And we've talked about serial killers before, but of course, this is just going to be, we're not going to be doing like famous ones. We're going to be doing creepy encounters with ones pretty much no one's heard of. So let's get into today's video. A man came to my grandma's house and said he was having car trouble. Asked to borrow a wrench. He followed my grandma into her garage and picked up a hammer and whacked her in the back of the head with it. He thought she had died. Her skull cracked open. He just left her there. She lived in the middle of the woods, but she didn't die. He was caught before he murdered anyone else, and the investigators found all kinds of evidence of him stalking her before coming to kill her. In the months before this, she noticed strange things out of place. The sink left dripping, doors left open, unfamiliar smells, etc. But then, when she washed the outfits that were on her doll's collection, she noticed tears and holes in them, and slits ripped into the dolls' bodies. She immediately changed the locks. He stabbed her dolls. Then she came home to a break a while later. They only stole one thing, an old Boy Scout pin that her father frequently wore. She looked at it from time to time. It had huge sentimental value, but no monetary value. Turns out, it was him the whole time. No one knows exactly how long he had stalked her. He had stalked and killed 2 others and the town over before coming to my grandma. It's terrifying to think that it could be happening to anyone at any time. 2. Dated a killer. This is going to be a shorter story, but it's still pretty terrifying. Dated one and didn't know it. Didn't actually realize until he and his buddy kidnapped me and held me prisoner for a week and a half. Turned out they were pretty big time drug dealers and were also human traffickers who liked to torture women to death just for kicks. Story number 3. The van. Yeah, I'm sorry if you guys hear the dogs in the backyard. They like to bark. I was the first to notice the big white carpet company van that parked behind our house every day around dinner. I must have been 7 and my sister was 4. We would play in our fenced yard that we shared one side with the alleyway, giving anyone who walked by a full view of our lawn and the back of our house as well as the backyard of the house next door. Looking back, I was a total goody-goody and deliberately found any way to suck up to my parents in school. Our school just had given a typical 90s stranger danger presentation and had specifically described scenarios where men in big white vans with no windows offered you candy to get in, then drove away with you. I was more proud than scared when I dragged both of them outside to show the van out to my parents. Like it had been some real-world test. Clearly I had aced it. I can't really recall their response, but I know they didn't feel the need to escalate it. Maybe they had noticed the van until that day. I pointed it out, but they weren't bothered enough to investigate it. After we went outside to look at the van, it never appeared in our alley again. A few days had passed, however, and by eavesdropping in adult conversations as a goody-goody suck-up I do, I caught on to something terrible had happened next door. The boy that lived there was 11ish and wanted nothing to do with me or my sister, so obviously we weren't close. Had been taken from their front yard. The neighbors reported seeing a large white windowless van drive away. My parents were able to give a full description of the van they had seen in the alleyway previously, including the carpet store logo, in case that happened to be the vehicle or other neighbors saw. The police must have easily spotted the van, as I remember the older boy returning home within the next day or so. Being so young and sheltered at that time, I can't speak any grisly details as to how the boy was treated or what happened while he was gone. All I can say is that his whole family packed up and moved out shortly after. That was pretty creepy. Kids, if you ever see any van, don't go near it. Just walk away. It's not okay. Story number 4. Psycho. I got beat up when I was 10 by a man who was a law professor in a fairly prestigious university. He kicked the living shit out of me pretty hard, threatened to kill me if I said anything. I didn't. I lied to my parents about what happened. A little while later, he shot his family with a 12 gauge. Again, that was a short story, but how does a law professor at a prestigious university do that? I don't know. Story number 5. Mom's best friend. Not a serial killer, but mass murderer. Isn't that the same thing? Isn't that the same? Let me know in the comments if that's the same thing. Anyways, not a serial killer, but a mass murderer. His mom was my mom's best friend. After the murders happened, his mom kind of fell off the face of the planet. She was already raising her other son's kids because he was in prison for drug dealing relations. And then him, and not only going to prison, but murdering 4 small kids and his girlfriend just completely broke her. I think it would have happened to any mother like that. He sat in my house and gave me 2 tattoos when I was 19, and gave my mom 2 at that time as well. His mom kept saying he should ask me out, and he agreed. I was acting flirty, but not only did I find him widely unattractive, he was covered in swastikas. He had been to prison also for drugs, and said he didn't agree with the ideology, but got them to fit in at prison. I could see one of the swastikas was actually in the process of being covered with something else. And his mom was basically an aunt to me. And me and my mom trusted her. She said he had turned his life around since prison, and was actually a talented tattoo artist and could give us discount on an ad to a tattoo or a portfolio. At that time, nothing really indicated he was capable of murdering children. The swastikas sent a pretty bad message, but I didn't think too much of it after he said it was just a survival tactic or whatever. I had heard of that. He was just kind of a trashy, talkative guy, but after those details came out, I don't know. Well, you guys, thank you for listening to my another creepy podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun making it. Please like and subscribe to the channel and hit those notification bells, and also check out all my other content, including my other videos. My other videos need some views too, more than what I'm getting. So please check it out and share it. All links in the description as usual. I'm going to be doing my 700 subscriber special soon. So please look out for that. I'm getting the supplies. So I'm going to be making the world's most sourest drink. And I'm going to drink it. So watch out, you guys. It's coming soon. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.